I'll officially call the meeting to order and ask Ms. Manis to give us the statement of announcement, please.
A meeting notice announcing the date, time, and place of the September 6, 2022 Policy Committee meeting was distributed September 4th, 2022 to appropriate media and other groups or individuals who have requested notification. The announcement and agenda were posted at the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs Central Administrative Office and on the website. The public has been notified that accommodations such as interpreters, mobility assistants, or other assistance will be provided to individuals with disabilities and special needs if requested in advance.
Thank you, ma'am. Next item on the agenda is the invocation, which I'll give very quickly. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here again to serve you in some way through the Commission on Disabilities and Special Needs with the policies. There is so many ways that we can serve you and further your kingdom. We're thankful that this is another way. We would ask that you would be with us and be with those that traveled, particularly to get to this meeting, and be with us throughout the day and keep us safe throughout the day. And thank you for the sunny day that we have here, which has been basically unusual in the last few weeks. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. The next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I think everybody here knows that we run this meeting by unanimous consent, which means that if I don't hear anything, we'll move forward. So if I don't hear anything in 3 seconds, the agenda is adopted. The agenda is adopted. The next item on the agenda is approval of the summary notes from last month's meeting. I just wanted to ask that we would, I don't normally do this, but we need to we would ask that we would insert the word where on the first page of it, it says the list was vetted by the chairman. It should say the list is vetted and will be prioritized by the chairman with the help of the staff. So I would ask that we would add that, because that's really what I wanted to put was that we were going to prioritize it, not as much that we were going to vet it, but it's fine if they want to put that in there. But it's mainly to prioritize it. So I just like that word to be in there if you don't mind. And if there's no objection to that, then in 3 seconds, that's going to be approved and adopted. Hearing none, it's approved. The next item on the agenda is under old business, the residential needs, which is on tab 2 of your agenda. I mean, of your packet or agenda. If you have a notebook, it's tab 2, and it's the first policy that we have is 709 DD, which is determining need for residential services. And the first thing I wanted to mention about it is that there's been a tremendous amount of comment from many providers regarding this matter, and I wanted to thank those that had a part in answering those questions. I think they did quite a good job with answering all those questions from the providers who had them, and to say that this policy will become effective, as many people may have already seen, on December 1st, which means that we'll have a couple of months before it becomes effective for training and things of that nature, since this is a different way we're doing this policy now that we have fee for service, which I think overall is a better way, but a different way anyway. And so we'll have some trainings and things of that nature regarding this matter. And I think that the commission and I know the majority of the commission and the staff recognize the need for a comprehensive assessment tool. And I think Lori might want to say a thing or two more about that. And and then we'll go from there.
Yes, we got a few comments about the need for a comprehensive assessment tool and the determination of the need for the level of service to be received within residential habilitation. We agree. We currently are in the process of obtaining a vendor to do some research and make recommendations related to an assessment tool that will be used in this process, but that process will require, some research, like I said, as well as some piloting. So this policy will be in place as written until we get there, and then it'll be revised once we have a comprehensive assessment tool.
Thank you, ma'am. And everybody listening just needs to keep in mind that even the assessment tool won't be perfect. We'll do the best we can with it, but it will not be a perfect tool. And although it's been a needed tool for, I imagine, for quite a long time. I'm not sure why it's not here yet, but that's just one of those things. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort, and the current administration is doing the best we can to get that done. And the current commission and et cetera. So I don't have any other additions or corrections to this policy unless somebody else on the committee has something to say about it. It looks quite good to me and quite similar to what it did the last time we talked about this before we put it out for public comment. So so I don't have an objection. So if there's not any, or if there's any further discussion, we'll have it. But if not, I'm going to move that we accept this as written. And if I don't hear anything different, we'll accept it as written in the next 3 seconds. Okay, I've heard nothing. So residential needs is adopted as written. The next item on the agenda is informed choice in living preferences. It's also on tab 2. It's page 40 to 44 in the if you have a notebook and or in your packet that the commissioners should have received. That's another one that I really have nothing to bring up about personally. It is in conjunction with a previous directive, which is 70009 DD, and was posted for external review, and one comment was received, and that comment was addressed, and we made an additional change because of it. And a copy of the draft and final revision will go to the commission for approval and signing at the next meeting, is what our plan is right now. So if there's no other discussion regarding that policy, we'll move forward with that as well. If I don't hear anything in 3 seconds, we're going to move forward with that one as well. I don't hear anything, so I'm going to move forward with that one. There is a couple of things I want to say about the last one, but then that's under new business in tab 3 of your packet, or whether it's printed or otherwise, it should be under tab 3. And I don't have a lot, but I do have a couple of things. One is on page, I don't know, I'm calling it page 46, but it really doesn't matter to me where it was inserted, but I just feel it would be helpful if we would insert something to the effect that this is under, when we're reporting deaths, of course. I guess everybody knows I don't know if I did that correctly. I don't know if I said this was the one for pending deaths, and it's called reporting mortality and review requirements for that. It's actually a more comprehensive policy than we had in the past, because we're supposed to report all deaths and not just those in certain situations anymore, where even if somebody passes away that we're serving in any way, we're to report that. And so that's what this new policy is, or a lot of this policy is about. But the part of it I wanted to mention was that when it seems to me like it should say somewhere, either on page 46 or somewhere, that we are reporting this death in this document to make it official that obviously the person has passed away, and that any formal closing of the file as it may be that we need to do in order to prevent any fraud or anybody from receiving services after the person's passed away will be done in some way. It doesn't, I know that there's another way that we do that through the waiver services, but it would be nice if it had another sentence in here or two that did that another time, so that it would be more thorough. And I just wanted to know if anybody on the committee or the staff had any objection to adding something of that sort. I would think it would be right on page 46, right under where we are now, where it says DDSN center or board provider staff person.
So Commissioner Malfros, I might suggest that we add it at the end of the policy under mortality review. Maybe we could just add a separate number there that says part of the mortality review is to ensure that the disenrollment from the waiver services has been processed appropriately, or something along those lines.
Yeah, just to make it, yeah, that's fine. Just to make it final that
Okay.
This one and that one says that this has been, that this person has been no longer receiving services.
Okay.
It's really just to cover our bases.
And
What?
Dalton, who is kind of one of the document managers of the policy, is on the meeting. Anne, are you okay with doing it that way?
Sure, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
So we'll add that language.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't know she was here. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead. All right. The only other thing I would ask about, it's really, I'm just going to ask, well, there's two other things I'm going to ask about, but the main one, the other one was on page, and of course, any of the committee members feel free to chime in if you'd like to, and or of course the staff as well, of course, as we always do it. Every one of these meetings, I really say that for Miss Woodhead's benefit, since this is our first meeting, and she doesn't really understand how, had never seen how we work these, I don't think. But on page 47, number 5 of my packet, it says if the death or unexpected is unexpected or unexplained, the regional center provider designee must call DDSN associate state director or of operations or their deceased immediately, and immediately means within 2 hours of the death. And I was just wondering if it seems like, I do think it should be immediately, and I just feel like that an hour is long enough, and I just wanted to know, was there some specific reason we chose 2 hours, and or if it was, could we just say we would expect it within an hour or 2 hours at the most, or something of that sort? Because it would seem to me like that's just a long time to have to wait. If it's an unexplained and unexpected death, that's what that's the other reason I was bringing this up, because in this section it's talking about unexplained or unexpected, so it's different than just a death if we know it's going to happen, but which nobody knows when it's going to happen for anybody. But I'm just, in general, we think it's going to happen, I should say. Only the Lord knows that, but I just feel like it should say 24, and I just wonder why it says 48.
Commissioner Malfros, this is Ann Dalton. So this portion of the directive was actually taken from the prior version, and it is my understanding that this language was in place because if there is an unexpected or unexplained death, the scene may actually be quite chaotic at that time. There are likely emergency personnel involved and first responders who are going to be interviewing the staff who are on site. Likely the executive director or the residential director will be part of that conversation. So the 2 hours was just to allow everyone time to take in the situation and respond appropriately. We can certainly amend the language to ask that notification take place as soon as possible.
Would we say within 1 hour and 2 hours at the most, or something like that?
Yeah, we'll work on that language.
Okay. I just think it'd be, at least they would know that we expected it within an hour anyway. And the only other thing about that is on page 49, it says the same thing. And so on page 49, number 2, it says a very similar, if not the exact same thing. So it just needs to be whatever language we use needs to be put in the same language. I would think would be under paragraph 2 on number 2 on page 49. I would think, unless somebody thinks that should be different, but this one's going out for public comment, I believe, anyway. And so we'll look at it again, but I just like to get it straight before we go out to public comment, so then we can focus on only the public comments whenever we get them back. But the only other thing I was going to mention about this policy was that under the notification procedure on page 50 of my packet, which should be 50 of everybody's, I think. It's we're talking about the same policy, obviously. It says that if the person is we're filling out this document, the notification procedures, and the person is unwilling or unable to fill it out, that our person basically the provider representative will fill it out. I just think it should say that. I just wonder if it shouldn't say that it should be documented that person was unwilling or unable to fill it out, and that our the provider designee or representative did fill it out. I just think it should be documented that person actually did that.
We can add that clarification. Thank you.
Okay. Just so if there was ever a dilemma about who filled it out, you'd know then that they did because they were unwilling or unable to do it. And that's the only, it's in the last sentence of that paragraph, or of that section, sorry, before you get to autopsy. And that's all I have on this one. I don't know if anybody else has any other one or not. If I don't hear anything, I'm just going to move on with those provisions, and we will, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to check my notes here, but I think that this goes out to public comment, and if it does, we'll be bringing it back. Isn't that right, Lori?
Yeah, it does go out for public comment.
Right, so this one's going out for public comment like I thought, and so it'll come back to us once we get the public comment done to finalize it. So, and obviously, as I've said many times, keep in mind that we have a 10-day public comment period, and we expect people to have those comments in, but in that length of time, so that we have plenty of time to get it ready for the commission at the next meeting. I mean the committee at our next meeting. Anyway, if there's no other objections, no other changes to this policy, I'm happy to discuss any if there is, but if there's not, I'm going to say that if I don't hear anything in 3 seconds, we're going to move this forward to public comment. It's 5, for the record, it's 50502 DD is the one we're working on now. Okay, I haven't heard anything, so we're going to move forward. The last item on our short agenda today is 27504 DD, which is a procedure for implementation of DDSN audit procedures, audit policy for DDSN boards. And The only change we had on this one, as far as I know, is we did approve this in July, but that there's a date that needed to be changed due to reverting back from pre-pandemic requirements regarding the due dates of an extension of an approval of these audit procedures. And so we're changing that date so that it's proper now, if there's no objection from the committee. And that's the only change in this policy that we have, but we did need to get this done. That I know of. I certainly don't see any other ones. If nobody else sees any, that, well, I'm gonna make this go for about 3 seconds and then we're gonna move forward. I don't hear anything, so we're gonna approve that one with the date change, and that's it. That's not going out for public comment, I don't think. I think that's just changed, correct?
I think so.
Right. That's just changed.
It'll go to the commission on
What?
next week. It'll go to the commission next.
I'm sorry, yeah, you're right, of course. Sorry, it will, of course, as all other policies do for the policy committee, it will go to the commission for approval at our next meeting, which is August 15th or 14th, the Thursday, the third Thursday of this month. So of course it will go as all of them do. I apologize for not saying that earlier. It will, of course, go to the commission for approval. All of them do. So we never approve anything in here without the commission's approval. Without ultimate commission approval, I should say. This is another record time of meeting where we hopefully will be able to handle some more business next go round at our next meeting, which is scheduled right now for October 11th, but that I think is going to depend on a couple things as to our situation in October. And so we will get back to all those in the public about, and of course the members of the committee and the staff, as to what we're going to do about October 11th. But as of today, it'll be set for October 11th as a normal meeting, and we'll see what happens. Is there any other business to come before our committee today?
Oh, Barry, we've adopted the agenda.
I don't have anything else, so I'm going to adjourn the meeting if I don't hear anything in 3 seconds. By the way, I don't need a motion in a second to adjourn the meeting. I can do it myself, except that I need to give time if somebody wants to object to that. So if nobody objects to adjourning, that's what we're going to do. I apologize for it being so short again, but that's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. So, but it was a record meeting, which is a good thing that we got. But I am thankful that we have the very important policies that we did get done today done. So that's good. So we are adjourned.